What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we have the SPY setting at 544. The Qs are sitting at 479, opening up today and finding support, as well as Bitcoin sitting at $61,200, looking for support in this area. So, is this a dead cat bounce for the markets? Or are we going to see these markets continue to rally? Um, we're also going to discuss where money may be rotating into which markets. Plus, we'll get into crypto at the end of this video. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. And let's get into it, guys. All right. So it is Wednesday, guys. Let's get into this. First off, I wanted to bring this up. Uh, this is the volatility of election years on average from July through November. So we may see some increased volatility in these markets due to the election. It looks like it's going to be possibly a tight one as both parties battle it out. And so that means you could see spikes in the market, which is good for traders, um, but it may have some investors worried. Honestly, I wouldn't be too worried as an investor at this moment. Um, I still think we're probably a little over two-thirds the way through this bull cycle. And another thing we can keep an eye on is the VIX sitting at 1278, and we are actually down here uh, at levels that we haven't really seen in some time. We have seen more so recently, but this is the monthly chart of the VIX, and whenever we get down to these levels, it's just a sign that everything's kind of smooth sailing for now. Um, but if we do see this VIX start to spike up, then that's when we probably should keep a closer eye on the markets. Um, Sometimes you have these bigger spikes that we've seen back in 2020 and back in 08, 09. Not really expecting anything like that here. Um, in the midterm, I do think that we may see a more volatility uh, possibly next year or later into 2026, where we may see some sort of bigger correction or recession unless something out of the blue happens. Um, but we'll just have to keep an eye on that. So where is money rotating? Well, we have a lot of money is starting to rotate into uh, growth stocks, and this is VUG. This is a Vanguard ETF for growth, and right now it's sitting at 375.50. We have this larger cup and handle pattern that played out here, and we could see something like this going higher. We also have the mid cap stocks sitting at 2907. RSIs are resetting on the weekly, so it looks like these mid cap stocks may start to move higher here in the short term. We also have Tesla breaking out of this downwards sloping channel. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. We had this pennant here. We mentioned if we were going to break out of this, that we could see Tesla move much higher, and it has done so today, setting at 194.26. So this is pretty interesting for Tesla. I mentioned this a couple weeks ago here on this channel about this potential breakout, and sure enough, it has, and it came back down to retest that, and then it came back down to retest this downwards sloping channel and is moving higher. Where could Tesla go? Well, I think 200 is a nice round number. It will find some resistance there. We have this previous resistance, but we also have a gap fill here at 207, and there is also another gap fill up here around 227. So there's a couple levels higher there. And this, honestly, I was just seeing this right before I started this video. It kind of looks like we may be putting in an inverse head and shoulders pattern here with the necklines kind of sloping downwards here. So that is something that could be interesting because that could indicate a much bigger move for Tesla. We know Tesla's really been beaten down this year. It was at one point over 40% off the highs, and it hasn't really moved like a lot of these other Magnificent Seven stocks have. So I do suspect that Tesla may play some catch up here. So that's one stock to keep an eye on. And just going to clear up this chart here a little bit now. But yeah, I think Tesla may be looking pretty good. If we came back down to this downward sloping parallel channel, you may see another bounce off that. I wouldn't chase this pump. Another sector we can look at is the XLE. This is the energy sector sitting at 90.38, finding support on our upwards sloping trend line. We also have the RSIs on the weekly, just starting to put in a golden cross. So you could see a bounce here for a lot of the energy sector, as well as the XLE ETF. Another one is gold, and right now it is sitting at 22.99. Looking for a little bit of support here. Some of these metals have been looking a little bit weaker here in the past couple of weeks. If we do lose this level, I could see gold coming down to possibly this $2150 to $2200 range. I think that would be a great entry. I still think gold goes much higher here in the coming years. It looks like a lot of these defensive assets are starting to show a little bit of outperformance in recent times here over the past couple of months. So that is something to keep an eye on. And another market to keep an eye on is some of these emerging markets. This is the HSI sitting at 17,800. Just falling out of our first take profit box here. And of course, whenever this broke out here back in April, well, we just blew right through that take profit. And it is finding some support here in this area. It looks like some of these emerging markets are starting to wake up. If we did happen to come back down to possibly this trend line, well, we would have a third touch then on this upward sloping trend. So I think that would be a good level. Plus we have this previous level of resistance to maybe get in on some of these emerging markets. Some of the stocks are starting to look pretty good for the Chinese market. Of course, there's additional risk, so you got to understand that. All right, guys, if you're interested in trading the SPY or some of these other exchanges, Forex or gold, you can do so over on Prime XBT. Prime XBT allows you to trade these, plus they allow you to trade crypto. So if you're interested in Bitcoin or some of these other cryptocurrencies, you can do so. Right now they're offering up to a $7,000 sign up bonus or 25% off commissions. If you're interested, there is a link down below. All right, guys, let's discuss Bitcoin and what is going on with crypto. Captain, I don't know how you pronounce this, 𝗶𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃, over here on Twitter, he posted this chart showing this bullish flag, and some people have indicated that they thought this was going to be a bullish flag or a cup and handle pattern that could send crypto higher, but crypto's been looking a little bit weak here the last couple of weeks. What I would say here for crypto is to look to see, I've added a couple boxes here. If we can get above this area right around that 63 to $64,000 area and find some support there, well then crypto, Bitcoin should move higher. Plus that would break us out of this downward sloping trend line, which may also act as support. Of course, we have this longer term trend line acting as support as well. So as long as we maintain this level here, somewhere right around in this area, well, I think you could see a Bitcoin start to move higher. The RSIs are at the bottom side on the daily, and coming into the weekly, I think that if we can make it through the next week or so for Bitcoin, then you could see a move higher. Of course, this could move lower as well. So we just want to keep that in mind. As an investor, I wouldn't be too worried whatsoever. If you see here on the RSIs for the weekly, we are coming down, indicating we may see a bottom here in the next week or two for Bitcoin. We have had quite a bit of a sell-off here over the last couple of weeks, and so we could see some more strength for Bitcoin and crypto. Another thing we can keep an eye on is the dollar, the DXY, sitting at 106. And really, the dollar is what has kind of been negative for risk assets as it has been rising here on this trend. And this is a chart on the weekly of the dollar. So really, we may find a rejection here on the dollar right around this area, and if we could start moving lower, that would be good for growth and risk assets and really just the stock market in general. But if we make it through that level, we'll find some more resistance right around that 106.50 to $107 range. And if we break through that, well, that could be bad for crypto and Bitcoin, as well as the stock market. That would probably mean that people are selling assets because they are fearful that something may happen. Another interesting chart to take a look at. This was posted over on X by Ash Crypto, and he said the U.S. banks' unrealized losses have reached $525 billion. It's almost 7 times bigger than the financial crisis in 2008. And of course, these are unrealized losses. So right now, there's nothing really to worry about too big other than a lot of these banks are holding these potential losses. And so that means that probably at some point the government will probably have to do something in the background in order to shore up these banks. Otherwise, things could get shaky for the markets. You may see something like we had last year back in April, where you start to see some of these banks begin closing. I know there's already been a handful of those, and really they're just reconsolidating and getting taken over by the larger banks. So right now, um, a lot of these regional banks that are struggling are uh, being taken over. So it's just something to keep in mind. But we do know that whenever the government steps in and begins to support, the economy, the banks, the markets, all that stuff just means that there's going to be more liquidity going into the system, and that means risk assets should go up then. Another thing to keep an eye on in the crypto markets is that a several or at least a few of these altcoins are now outperforming Bitcoin. This is a chart of Ethereum divided by Bitcoin, and it's breaking out of this downwards sloping trend line. And so that shows a little bit more strength for Ethereum. You see on the Ethereum chart, we are sitting at 33.29 today, and it's holding up just a little bit better than Bitcoin. I would think anywhere down in this area would be a great entry. It looks like we're about ready to put in another little golden cross on the daily for Ethereum. Plus, we know that we have the spot ETFs that should be coming up sometime this summer, possibly as early as July 2nd. So you could see Ethereum really start to wake up. Another coin we can look at is Solana, sitting at 136.42, finding a little bounce here in the past couple of days. We also have AVAX, and one thing I really wanted to point out for this chart, we have AVAX sitting at 25.64. We lost this support right here, as well as this downward sloping trend line. But if you were to just take a fib on something like AVAX here, well, you could see that we are pretty much sitting right in that golden pocket, uh, coming down towards the 786 on a fib. So typically this is an absolutely great place to get an entry. And this also lines up about with this line of support here, where we had this act as previous resistance, flip support. So anywhere here between $22 and I would say close to the current price is probably a good place to get in on something like AVAX. And I could see a lot of these cryptos really start to take off here in the coming months as we come into fall and into the elections. We know that crypto typically outperforms and really moves higher during the fall, especially in the pre-election years. So something like this could go much higher. If you're interested in buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, AVAX, and many more, you can do so over on iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital allows you to buy, sell, and trade crypto, gold, and silver 24/7 in a tax advantage IRA with low cost and no monthly fees. Plus, they allow you to roll over a portion or all of your 401k or IRA into an iTrust Capital IRA. If you're interested, there is a link down below. I use iTrust Capital, and they have 4,500 plus 5-star reviews on Google. All right, guys, another thing to keep an eye on this week is we got the core PCE coming out on Friday at 8:30 a.m. So that will be one bit of news we should keep an eye on this week. Otherwise, it looks like it kind of could be just maybe a calm week here. think the markets are just kind of at a place of equilibrium, trying to figure out which way they want to move next. I would say that I probably would suspect possibly a little correction. If we saw anything like a 3 to 5% or even 10% correction, that shouldn't be anything to worry about. Um, but overall, it looks like it's just kind of slow this summer, and uh, generally volatility kind of starts to increase around this time of year. So we could start to see a lot of chop, and that is good for traders. Again, nothing I'd be worried about as an investor at this point. But yeah, later this fall, I think you're really going to see a lot of these um, smaller stocks in some of these sectors and risk on assets such as Bitcoin and crypto really start to take off. Anyway, guys, I hope you all have a great day. Also, don't forget to go follow me over on X at mindofthefinancier. I am Mind of the Financier on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And until next time, guys, be legendary and take care. Peace out.